Hey guys, so today I'll be reading a Phineas and Ferb fanfiction. This lovely piece was written by Raven Blue, and the ship is Perry and Doof Heinz Perry. It's more of a friendship thing that could blossom into a romance, but right now the fic is just a really good friendship. Yeah, alright. Okay, let's get into it. So the title is The Perfect Cup of Tea, a door handle within reach, and other ways to make the platypus in your life feel welcome. Written by Raven Blue. Letting yourself in with the key your nemesis gave you so long ago. So you don't keep breaking down the door, he said at the time. You closed the door behind you with a sigh, tension easing from your shoulders. Here you are, free of the expectations everyone else has of you. Oh, good, you're here, he says, instantly on his feet, not bothering to hide the relief on his face. Did he think you weren't coming? Sure, you're a little late, but you refuse to let him down. He's had enough of that from everyone else. Here, he says, instead of complaining you expected, and passes you the mug you always use. I made you some tea since it's so cold out here. You give him a grateful smile as you take it, warming your paws around the ceramic. Trust him to think of that, and to get the temperature perfect. Maybe you weren't as late as you thought, for it to be this fresh, or maybe this is him, and his uncanny ability to know when, how, and where you arrive, ready and waiting with a trap to greet you. Or, in this case, a nice cup of tea. Either way, as usual, he's taking your presence as an excuse to monologue. You didn't have to come, you know, he continues quieter. I mean, it is your day off, right? I don't know why you want to spend it here. Sipping at the tea, exactly how you like it, you raise an eyebrow at him. Why wouldn't you spend the day with your nemesis? You could spend time with your family, and you did, but they're not the only people in your life who matter. That, and you always have to be aware of the impression you give up around them, maintaining your cover. With him on the other paw, you can let your tail down and relax. Nothing more and nothing less than yourself. You are grateful for the chance to learn what that means. Besides, as he said multiple times, you are his best friend. He swallows, cheeks red. Well, you're here now, he mumbles, cheeks red. Anyways, I was about to bake some cookies or muffins. I haven't decided yet. How's that sound, huh? How could you say no? You don't often get a chance to bake after all. Even if you did, it is worth it to see his face light up, his deep blue eyes shining. Good, he says, brighten now, and gestures you through the kitchen. You can help me decide what we're making. How about it? Your stomach rumbles and you give him an awkward grin apology. It's been a long while since breakfast, and now it's afternoon. Muffins? He confirms, and you nod. Chocolate or vanilla? Can Papa's even have chocolate, or is it like, oh, you can? That's good. I hate to, poison you when you're not punching me, I mean. Climbing up onto a nearby stool, you nod, setting your now empty mug down on the counter. You know exactly what he means. Thwarting him is different. A battle of wills, of good versus evil, where all that matters is to fight. A time when you can cross lines that once seemed unthinkable, like apparently friendship with your nemesis. He digs through the pantry, pulling out ingredients and setting them beside you. Looks like we have to go with vanilla. I can't find the cocoa. Jumping down, you reach past him and pull it out from behind the cereal, eyebrow raised. Oh, there it is, he says, taking it with a grin. Thank you, Perry the platypus. I was wondering what happened to that. Now, where did I put the sugar? He used the last of it already, as it turns out. So here you are, driving him to the grocery store in his van. You don't trust him behind the wheel anymore, not after how his driving test went, especially not in snow. I really thought I had more, he's saying, staring out the window. I guess Vanessa must have used it all. From what you remember of Vanessa's last attempt at baking, you doubt there was enough left for her to use. There hadn't been a hint of sugar at all. Not that you say so in front of him, having seen enough of his overprotectiveness to not want to bring that error upon yourself. At the grocery store, he finds a trolley. I might as well grab a few other things while I'm here, he explains, holding it still while you climb up and into the seat. His idea, originally. Now you hold a list for him as he wanders through the aisles with a frown. They moved everything again, he grumbles, on his third foray down the same aisle where the sugar was last time, and still is. Come on, help me find the sugar. It has to be here somewhere. Right behind him, plain as day, a whole shelf of it. You sigh, pointing. Are you sure? I can't see it. He didn't even look. Then again, observation has never been his strong suit. With the way he reacts when you're not wearing your fedora, you'd wonder if it was an inability to tell you apart from any other platypus, if it weren't for his recognizing you after unfortunate innator mishaps. On second thought, this was probably closer to his poor planning for said innators. Rolling your eyes, you jump out of the trolley, pressing your finger to the nearest bag. He can't miss this. And he doesn't, snatching 3 bags off the shelf. Not one word, Perry the platypus. What kind of platypus does he take you for? You don't need to say anything. He understands you perfectly well without it. The fact that he's avoiding your gaze is proof enough of that. Sugar acquired. He continues wandering around, grabbing things off the shelf, some of which you put back when he's not looking or swap for the dairy-free version. While his lactose intolerance isn't that bad compared to what you are used to, it's the principle of the thing. He doesn't even notice until you're at the checkout already, 3 more people behind you when it's too late to do anything about it. Exactly what you've hoped for. Really? He grumbles, glaring at you, box in hand. You know the other bread is better. When he eats it, maybe. You're more focused on how it affects you, namely forcing him to cut your thwarting short on more than one occasion so that he can run to the bathroom. He regrets it then, not that has ever stopped him from doing it again. Then again, that's your job, stopping him, a job you take very seriously. He groans, setting it on the conveyor belt with the rest. You don't even eat it, Perry the platypus. Besides, just because I'm lactose intolerant doesn't mean I can't have it. So, how long have you two been married? The cashier interrupts, already scanning items through, and Heinz blinks. Well, not, he says, as confused as you are. Oh, sorry, I just thought how long have you known each other then? Heinz has to think about it. Unlike you, every day since you met is burned into your memory. We met just before summer, I think. Does that sound about right, Perry the platypus? May. You met him in May, at the start of the month, and your life has never been the same since. Yeah, it is. Why do you ask? Of which year? The cashier prompts, grinning. What's that supposed to be? You sigh, getting to your feet, and press a paw to your nemesis' mouth. Shouldn't have let him talk. The cashier laughs, scanning the next item. That'll be $134.42. Pushing your paw away, Heinz reaches into a pocket and frowns. He checks the rest, patting himself down, then turns to you with that pleading look he knows you can't resist. Perry the platypus, be a dear and cover that for me. I left my wallet at home. Really? Massaging your brow, you dig through your own wallet and handing over your card. The things you do for this man, you swear. When you get him home, thankfully, without further incident, he drags you back to the kitchen with him. Everything thankfully is still where you left it. You wouldn't have put it past him to have put a self-destruct button on something, and those never last too long, or at least they don't around you. "Can you get the stand mix out?" he says, stacking mixing bowls on the counter like he thinks he'll need them all. "Down at the bottom of the cupboard here. I'd do it myself, but my knee still hasn't recovered from yesterday." It's not your fault. That had been the best way to taunt him at the time. And even if it was, you still wouldn't apologize. It was your job to taunt him, whatever it takes. You pulled it out for him anyway, because you're not taunting him right now, and because he asked. How can you refuse? The rest of your life is full of people making decisions on your behalf, so his insistence on asking what you think is a breath of fresh air. As is the option of refusing, though you never have, but it matters that you could. As you lift the stand mix up so that he could grab it, Vanessa walks past, opening the fridge. "Hey, Dad." "Hey, Perry." "Oh, great, you're awake," Heinz says, leaning on the counter, not taking the heavy stand mix from your paws, even though your arms are starting to ache from the strain. "Do you want to join us? We're going to make muffins." "Nah, I told Stacy I'll meet her at the mall," she says, pulling out a sandwich and closing the fridge. "But have fun, and Perry, don't let him burn down the house again." Heinz huffs, folding his arms. "What do you mean, again?" Pausing at the door, Vanessa turns back to her father. "Remember that time you tried to build a treehouse for me?" "Yes," he says cautiously, like that doesn't raise more questions, which he's not going to answer, if that way he's steadfastly refusing to even look at you is anything to go by. "Exactly." And with that, she leaves. You growl, flicking your tail against his leg to get his attention. If he doesn't relieve you of this stand mix soon and you drop it, you will make sure it lands on his foot. "Oh, sorry, Perry the Platypus," he says, bending down as it starts to slip. "Let me get that for you." "Are you making muffins, sir?" Norm whoops, striding into the kitchen through a doorway slightly too small for him, the drywall barely slowing him down, mostly because Heinz refuses to pay for walls he can crash through. "Can I help?" "Norm, what have I told you we're using the door?" Heinz snaps, while you move the mixing bowls out of range of the dust cloud. The last thing the muffins need is bits of wall. "That you'll have to rebuild bigger next time?" Heinz groans, turning to you. "See what I have to put up with, Perry the Platypus?" All you can do is shrug. Norm does have a point. This happens often enough that you're surprised Heinz hasn't done anything about it yet. After all, if he wanted Norm to stop, he'd change things next time he gets the place rebuilt, which is often. Fine. I really need to get it fixed anyway. I suppose I should ask them to make a bigger doorway at the same time." And, pinching the bridge of his nose again, he sighs. "And Norm can help. Happy now?" You nod, climbing back on the stool. "Very." Sliding the last tray of muffins into the oven, Heinz straightens, wiping his brow. "Man, who knew baking was such hard work?" he says, like it's not something he does every week. He turns back to you, where you've been wiping up the mess where Norm had helped. "It wasn't so much. I mean, Vanessa took my sandwich, but I can make something else." "Can I have some too?" Norm asks. "You're a robot, Norm. You don't..." "Hey, what was that for, Perry the Platypus?" he demands, clutching his wrist where your elbow landed. You narrow your eyes at him. As brilliant as your nemesis can be in some situations, you really have to wonder about his obliviousness, and not just because of your hat. Even you can see how eager Norm is to join in. What's the harm in letting him have a late lunch with you as well? Fine, Heinz mutters, deflating. But if I regret this, it's your fault, not mine. Like you care. You've grown fond of Norm right now, and besides, it's his home too. Encouraging him is the least you can do. Heinz glares at you for a moment, although it's really more of a bow, then turns to Norm, smiling through gritted teeth. So, Norm, what do you want to eat? He forces out. I'll have whatever Perry the Platypus is having. Grinding his teeth together, Heinz turns to you. And what do you want, Perry the Platypus? You shrug, not having much experience with human food beyond what he's offered you. All you really know is the same worms you've had for breakfast every morning for the last 5 years, and you doubt that's the answer he's looking for. Really? Nothing? Do I have to make all the decisions around here? He grumbles and lets out a sigh. I'll see what I can do. Did you upset him? Curring apologetically, you get out of the stool, offering your help as he digs through the fridge. That's the least you could do. You're still not used to having this much of a say in anything with what your job asks of you, but that's no excuse to be rude. He shoos you away, head deep in the fridge. No, I can do this. Don't worry about me. How does a Kimber special sound, huh? A nice warm soup on a day like this. Oh, only as long as it's not too much of an imposition. Really, Perry the Worry Puss, I'm fine, he insists, pulling back to look at you and smiles. I don't actually mind, you know. Besides, it's not like it's hot. I could make it in my sleep. You nod reluctantly and climb back up to watch while he works. Good, huh? He says while you sip at the soup. Norm having disappeared as soon as he received his own bowl. Oh, you got it on your... Here, let me have it. Let me get it. Reaching over, he wipes his thumb over the corner of your bill, catching a drip you hadn't realized you missed. There, that's better. Licking his tongue clean, he leans on the counter. So, I was thinking. A dangerous proposition, in your experience. Him thinking usually leads to a scheme you need to thwart. Leaning back in his chair, he taps his fingers idly on the counter. I know I need to make the door bigger for Norm, but then I thought, why stop there? What if I had to add a door for you? Or well, maybe just moving the handle lower, but then Norm could have reached it and be outdoor again, but you can barely reach them now. You bring another spoonful of soup to your bill, flattered that he cares so much. The height of the handles had never bothered you. Then again, now that you think about it, things have crept lower the longer you fought him, from the doors locked to the bench he's now hunched over. There's even shelves in the bathroom, the perfect height for you to climb up to reach the sink. You thought nothing about it at the time, but now you can see the thought he puts in, all so that you can feel welcome. I mean, you're here often enough, he continues, the corner of his mouth twitching up again. It's almost like you live here already, even if you don't. I mean, if you wanted to. I have a spare bedroom you could, unless you wanted to share. Somehow you doubt he means you sleeping at the foot of his bed. But if that's not it, then he avoids your gaze and is he blushing? But why would he? Unless he's insinuating. That can't be it. He would have noticed if he was flirting with you, surely. Heinz wouldn't know subtlety if it bit him on the nose. This is the man who needs to see your fedora to recognize you after all. Oh, no, that's fine too, he mumbles. We can stay, you know, friends. Oh, he does mean that, doesn't he? You meet his eyes without needing to think, worry obvious in his brow. This isn't the face of an evil scientist. Not right now. No. This is your nemesis? No, he's more than that. He wouldn't be here if that was all. Your friend? Closer. But it feels lacking somehow. Your Heinz. Your Heinz. What else could it be? Setting your spoon down, you reach for him, cupping your paws around his face. How did you not realize earlier? Brushing your thumbs over his cheeks, you chirr softly. Perry the platypus, he says, just above a breath. What are you doing? On impulse, you close your eyes and pull him closer, pressing your bill to his lips, kissing him. That's what you're doing. You're kissing him. He sighs into your mouth, hands curling around your shoulders, not kissing back the way you expected based on your stories, but not pulling away either. Where did this come from? It's unexpected. I mean, you roll your eyes, flicking your tail at his knuckles. All this time you spent making sure you fit, and he didn't think you would reciprocate, and you thought he was oblivious before. Do you mean it? Of course you mean it. All of it, starting from the first time you accepted the overtures of his friendship. He makes a soft noise, almost a whimper, his eyes wide, and surges forward to crush your mouths together, right where you want him. Having always wanted him, you realize now, everything clicking into place. First things first, making up for lost time. Are you sure you are okay with this? He asks for the 5th time in as many minutes. This whole, dating thing. You flick at his nose again, just like the last time he said it. What kind of platypus does he take you for? If you weren't interested, you wouldn't have acted on it, but you are, and you did. Wrapping his arms around your waist, he curls in on himself. I mean, we could just stay in nemesis, pretend this never happened, and spend the rest of your life wondering what could have been. No, you'd rather be here with him. Besides, he said it himself, you may as well live here anyway. That matters. All the little adjustments he's made for your height, those matter. Are we still a nemesis? He mumbles, staring down his fingers. Oh, are you going to stop twerking me now? Now that we are, not inviting the way. It's just, it gives something, you need something to look forward to, Even if all I get from it is bruises. I don't know if you know this, but I don't exactly have much else going on, so it's nice to know someone cares about what I do. Letting out a breath, you climb onto his knees, placing your paw on his shoulders, and look him in the eye. You have no intention of ending your nemesis-ship for any reason, dating or otherwise, not at least because you'd rather fight him than anyone else. Besides, you only have so much time to work with, and you're stretched thin enough as it is, between your family and your job and your sleep. That's what it comes down to. While you can, and do, sneak away in the evenings to come here, you much rather prefer having a fair chunk of daylight to spend with him as now, a time you can only spare for a nemesis. Moving in with him isn't an option either, as much as he had hoped otherwise. It's not that you don't want to, it's that you know how your superiors would take it badly, and that the family you go home to would miss you if you left. He tightens his arm around you, quieter than you're used to. Does this mean you're going to stay after you twerk me now? He says, eventually. Closing your eyes, you nod. You suppose you have to. Glad to hear it. Oh, before you go, he adds, those muffins should be done by now, in case you want to, take some home with you. How does that sound, huh? You like that? Ta-da! Oh yeah, the thing I said about just being a friendship, I lied.